does it even buzz? Good morning, viewers. I warmly welcome you all to the next, already fourth edition of the so-called commentary, which are videos where I respond to and comment on the videos you send me. These are TikToks, shorts, generally short video formats. And since I really get a ton of these videos from you, seriously, I can count them in the hundreds, if not thousands, I decided to pick the creme de la creme, the very best, the most interesting ones, and today we'll watch and comment on them together. Alright, let's start. First video. Yes, this video is interesting and shows an unusual animal world anomaly. Quite often you can find photos of such specimens, but not of scorpions, rather of snakes. I mean, I've seen photos many times of different snakes that, for example, had two heads. Here we have an example of a scorpion that has two of those rear body parts, while the front is kind of unified. And I've also seen a few spiders that had exactly the same anomaly. I don't know if this is generally a genetic anomaly. These absurd things sometimes happen. These are totally rare cases and it's absolutely not normal, but it's worth mentioning that such things do happen, just like with people, for example, conjoined twins. These are also rare and extreme cases, but they do exist. Oh yes, I think a few dozen people sent me this video. Damn, I need a prop for this. What you see in the video is not Photoshop, it's not any animation, it's not fabricated, it's a real insect that actually has those golden colors. And here in my hand I have its close cousin, which is also golden, although maybe not quite as shiny. Similar to the one in the video, overall it's basically the same. I mean, this one and the one from the video belong to the same family, even the same subfamily, and even the same tribe. That's basically how taxonomy works. Interestingly, those shiny golden beetles are closely related to the Colorado potato beetle. They both belong to the leaf beetle family and are indeed leaf beetles. And that little shiny dot, those are beetles that belong to a subfamily of leaf beetles called Cassidinae. And scientists separated this group of beetles because they have a very strange, what I call an appendage-like body shape. That means their elytra and often their pronotum are very developed and in some cases form a complete, almost perfect circle. Many of these insects also have body protrusions, for example. Even in Poland we can find such a funny beetle whose name I can't remember right now, but I'll tell you in the video. And it's covered, bristling with spikes. Can you imagine that? And it's just a regular beetle that we can find in a meadow. Let's say it's fairly common, it's just small. So that's how nature created such wonders. And often these beetles have beautiful metallic, in this case golden, colors. And as you can see in the video, these beetles can fly. Just like the vast majority of beetles and just like potato beetles. Next material. This is a very interesting recording that has been circulating on the internet for some time, and I've also received it at least several dozen times with requests for a comment. What is this strange insect bug or other creature at the bottom of this container? Well, I'll answer you, because I know exactly what it is, and maybe this answer will disappoint some of you a bit, because it's nothing more than computer animation. This insect is artificially created. It's not a real insect. Such a thing doesn't exist in the world. I'm not sure what it's based on, but I think it's generally Asians. I'm not trying to stigmatize anyone. They've recently made it their goal to create insects or other little creatures that look like characters from manga or anime. For example, there are animations of insects, likely cicadas, inspired by horror movies. I don't fully understand it, but I want you to know that these insects, which look and move in a way that's a bit unnatural for insects, exist only in the form of pixels. Let's move on. Oh, this is just an incredibly cool video that shows you can really manipulate some people if they aren't familiar with different creatures, insects, caterpillars, and so on. Basically, this video presents a story where someone combined a butterfly caterpillar with a spider, and this is what came out. And let me tell you right away, no, that's not how it works. That's absolutely impossible. However, another thing is that the creature that came out of this so-called combination is real. What's more, such a creature exists in Poland, and it's nothing other than a certain species of moth. It has a cool Polish name. It's called the Potwora buczynówka, and as a moth it actually looks pretty normal, just like a grayish-brown moth, nothing special. However, as a caterpillar it looks like an alien. This is one of the strangest caterpillars you can find in Poland, on beaches, if I remember correctly. Well, it's the beach moth, right? Like, I just put two and two together and that's it. The moth itself, I used to think it was rare. Actually, there are many of them, but their camouflage and nocturnal habits make them hard to spot. Like most moths, they fly at night. That's why you rarely see it. More often, you'll find it's caterpillars, which are these strange things. Unlike most butterfly caterpillars, these have short front legs, but also very long ones. They genuinely look like caterpillars with spider legs, and they can also curl up their back end. They have two protrusions that make them look monstrous. This caterpillar can really scare people, because it's a marvel that few other caterpillars can show us. Let's move on. Oh yes, I literally got this video maybe 3 days ago, but I already knew I had to put it here. Because it shows the brilliant hunting method of certain wasps, which are commonly known in English as tarantula hawks. For tarantulas, those big hairy spiders, which then become food for their larvae. This film brilliantly shows how these wasps approach the spider. Sometimes they even lie on their so-called backs, though they don't really have backs, they just lie upside down. They sting the tarantula. For this film, I need a prop to address those who say a wasp is just a wasp. Nothing special. We have big hornets too. Yes, we do have hornets, and let's say our hornets are pretty big. But compared to these wasps, honestly, they don't even come close. This is one of the world's largest hymenopterans. It's monstrously huge. The camera lens doesn't capture its size. You need to see it in person next to a regular hornet, which I also have, by the way. Here you can see the difference. In my left hand here, I'm holding our regular European hornet. This is quite a sizable worker. Of course, the queens are bigger, but compared to this beast, well, there's a bit of a difference, right? These insects are gigantic. They buzz really loudly when they fly. And with that size, it's no wonder they're able to handle even large tarantulas. These insects can be found in places like South America and North America. Basically, we're talking about the Pepsis genus, which is this one. Hemipepsis is a related genus. Both genera prey on various spiders. The insect is terrifying. It's gigantic. Its stinger is about 1 centimeter long, maybe a bit more, and respect. And just as a little fun fact and a bit of a digression from this film, because it doesn't have much to do with those giant wasps that hunt spiders. This is a hymenopteran I recently got from Vietnam. It belongs to the genus Chlorion. However, what I want to show you is what it looks like. Well, this insect looks like it's made of blue-green metal. It's completely, absolutely, completely, practically metallic. It looks amazing and it has huge jaws. So your jaw drops when you look at something like that. What do we have there? What's next? Oh yes, this is actually quite a funny video showing how the laws of physics can affect organisms that are a bit smaller than us. This case involves a wasp and an orb weaver spider. If a wasp gets caught in the web and flies around while the orb weaver is attached by one thread, you'll see what's in the video. So basically a roller coaster. However, hunting by orb weaver spiders, including wasp spiders and regular orb weavers, is a fantastic spectacle. Once I manage to record it, I'll show you a fragment here. And these spiders are simply great ambush hunters. They wait, and when something is caught in the web, they wrap it up. That's it for the insect, right? If you did that to a human, it would rip their arms off, right? But the spider was fine. Oh yes, this is a marvel. It's just an amazing video, and I also received it a few times and decided that I definitely have to comment on it. It's the first time I've seen one this big and beautifully colored, and you can tell it just molted because the shed skin is visible at the back of the frame. A centipede, in quotation marks, from the genus Pteropoda. Yes, I managed to find out what it is. In Europe, if you visit southern regions like Crete, where my friends are now, you might find Scutigera coleoptrata. It's a smaller relative of this creature and part of the same centipede suborder. And these are very scary little creatures. What's more, they're venomous and can bite a person, and it's definitely not pleasant, but generally nothing serious should happen. If you see one, something like that, you might freak out, because even though our scutigers, the southern European ones, they reach, about 4 cm in body length, which isn't huge, but with the legs, it gets up to 8 cm, and those legs are long and splayed out, so it can really give you the chills. This is an entirely different level. This is a larger tropical centipede species with longer legs. Generally, they are not centipedes. I shouldn't even be using the word centipede when referring to these creatures. Our coleoptrata, which in Polish is called prasajtacznik, has 15 pairs of legs, which means a total of 30 limbs, and it's very, very fast. They can run over 1 km/h, which is impressive for such a small creature. This here is most likely Pteropoda longicornis, that's what it's called, probably a difficult long name, and generally it occurs in Asia, and it's quite common there. As far as I know, it's not available for breeding, which is a shame since I'd like to breed something this beautiful and creepy. But besides that, it's a cool creature. This is the second most submitted video I've received. At the start there's a caption that says Mosquitoes, Oklahoma. And that caption of course is fine, it's just for fun obviously, but what is it really? No, it's not a mosquito, I'm telling you right away, even though you can see it has a distinct piercing mouth part. This is something we call a robber fly in Polish. In other words, it's a predatory fly and it normally hunts other insects. It has very strong legs. You can see that its legs are powerful, armed with claws, and such a fly is not. It easily catches prey larger than itself, such as butterflies, other flies or wasps, and it simply sucks them dry. Yes, because that proboscis is used for sucking out its prey. In Poland, we can also generally find some pretty big robber flies, but not quite as big as this one. There's nothing to fear. These flies don't hunt humans and are mostly harmless, though they might startle you. It's time for the last clip, which you definitely sent me the most times, so let's watch it. Listen to that buzzing. So what the heck is this thing, you might ask? And why isn't this thing stinging the guy? Well, let me explain. First of all, this thing really exists.
All the insects and creatures in this episode's videos, except for one animation, are real.
They weren't animated. These little creatures really exist in this world, and this creature also exists in this world. And once again, I need what's called a prop, because last time I showed you this beast, this is that big hymenopteron. There was also the colorful hornet. However, to tell you what's in this last video, I specifically need this individual here, because it belongs to exactly the same species. So, well, you have a rough size comparison. This strange creature here has a rather simple scientific name. It's Polistes gigas. So in English, if I were to translate it, it would be the giant paper wasp. This is nothing more than a cousin of our Polish yellow and black paper wasps, which we can easily find around our homes, in fields or in meadows. They build these very characteristic small spherical nests. So what do we have here? It's also a paper wasp, but it's the largest one in the world. But someone might say, wait a minute, sir, because this specimen looks completely different. It has a much smaller head and different proportions. It's way smaller. What are you even showing me? What are you trying to do? Yes, the specimen in the video and this one are definitely different. The reason for their difference is actually quite simple. This species has pronounced sexual dimorphism. The females look like this, meaning they're fairly normal. They have a small head and they have a stinger. And the males look exactly like the next ones. The person in the video has a large head and prominent mandibles. And they don't have a stinger, so they can't sting us. And I think they're a bit bigger than the females, as far as I know. That individual is huge, a remarkable hymenopteron. Now you know what it is. Such hymenopterons can be found among other places in southern and southeastern Asia. This particular specimen is from Vietnam. I don't know where the recording comes from, I have no idea. However, well, it's basically an insect like any other, and they just happen to live there. And people there are probably used to it. But in Europe, that's a sensation, right? In short, many strange things exist, so it's important to know if something is real or fake. What is it anyway? The world of insects is fascinating. Let me know if you liked the episode, if you learned something, or if there was something you didn't know. And of course, if you have other interesting materials, I'd be happy to check them out, take a look, and maybe comment on them in the next episode of this series. See you in the next video. Bye!